Hey guys, welcome back to Blind Strike Exotics and welcome to 2022. I'm filming this here in like the first week of the year. It's really the first kind of new content video that I've done in a little bit. I was kind of taking a break from filming stuff during the holidays, and it was a nice refresher just to, to kind of take a break from it and not be editing videos and shooting videos nonstop. Plus the breeding season was winding down at that point, and now I'm just kind of left with the leftover hatchlings. I don't know, 10, 15 that I have left here. And so it's kind of easy going right now, and it kind of allows me to get back into the swing of things. So I just kind of wanted to do an updated snake room tour, or reptile room tour, we should say, because last year, I believe I shot the same video maybe in January or February, I think, and a lot has changed in here since then. So I don't know if you go back and look at that one, but there's been a ton of changes this year. I did have the 70-30 rack to start the year because I had that at my old house, but I've added this 55-40 rack, which I believe is now a 60-40 because I added another level on there. And I also added the, I think it's called the 1065, which is a hatchling rack from ARS that I got about a month ago that I added to my collection here. And I've moved some other racks out of here. I moved a couple of these racks out of there to change into quarantine tubs in a different area. I was previously using that large, I think it's animal plastics rack for that, but I actually just, that's kind of discontinued at this point for use. So I've kind of moved everything into really just being ARS. I mean, I have the big females, all of the smaller females, the adult males, all the hatchlings, plus some males that are a little more picky that I keep in there. Right now, this rack is just being used for some. I actually only have my red-tailed boa in there, and she's just about too big to be in there anymore, so I'm going to be moving her up into one of these racks until I get a bigger enclosure for her. The other big change this year was rats. Going into last year, all I have is this 4-tub rat rack that I built myself, and I was having a huge issue with finding live rats to feed to my snakes because I have quite a few at this point that will only eat live of the older ones. And I was having a hard time sourcing rats. We have 2 different reptile shows here in Pittsburgh, and they usually alternate, like one's every other month. One of them's about an hour drive for me, and the other one's 10-15 minutes away. So I typically only liked going to the one that was about 10-15 minutes away to save myself some time. And I was always able to get rats from the one vendor there, but if I didn't get them at that show, I either had to drive an hour away to the reptile show or drive an hour away to where their facility is to pick up rats. And it just became difficult for me. And it's also expensive too. I think medium rats were somewhere around $250, $275, and that adds up a lot. So I decided to take the dive into rat breeding myself, at least for my own collection. And I actually I'm making a decent amount of rats at this point, so much so that like last week I think I had to freeze off between 15 and 25 medium rats, and I still have a ton of rats in here. So what I decided to do with the rats, or I have, one female in each single one of these tubs. So I have 16 females going, and then I just take the males and rotate them through there. When the female has a litter, you just, let her go, let her raise the litter until they are weaned. I take the weaned rats, I throw them into one of these tubs or one of these tubs. I have, what's this, 1, 2, 3, it's a 6 here, and I have 4 here, so I have 10 grow out tubs. I throw them in there. As soon as that mom is done nursing the babies, I throw a male in with her, and I just keep rotating that all the way through, and I found that to work out so much better than taking, one of these tubs and throwing a male with 2 or 3 females in there. There were a lot of females that were eating the babies. There were a lot of females that weren't having good litters. So doing it this way, where you have 1 female per tub, you reduce the cannibalism rate, and you also can kind of figure out which females are good litter layers. And what I've been doing is kind of taking these red tags for the ones that are laying smaller litters. And typically you want probably at least 10 rats per litter at the very least. And I give them another chance to, have another litter. If they have 2 litters and they're both kind of small, then they become snake food. If not, they get these silver ones, and that just means that they're good rat moms. So I've been doing that. I've been making a ton of rats for myself. It has made my life a lot easier. I even, spent the money in getting the buckets with water and getting the valves that go in there, which also makes it a lot easier than just having a bunch of those rat water feeding bottles. So that was a huge change there, just to be able to make my own stuff, being able to pull out whatever size rat I need to feed off to the snakes, and not having to rely on anybody else to make sure that I can get my snakes fed. I also there was a big shelving rack that was over here, and I've actually removed every shelving rack. I had one that was over here too. I actually removed all of those since last year. My goal here is to, for right now, this lower one has the tegu who is hiding, this one has my rainbow boa, and this one has the baby rat snake. My goal here is eventually to get my, like 8-foot enclosures here, probably one for the tegu and one for the red-tailed boa, and then I'll, have these 2 smaller ones here for, I don't know, I'll have the rainbow boas in one. I don't know what I'll use the other one for, but that's my goal eventually, is to have 2 8-foot enclosures here. They should fit there okay. I have enough space there to do that, because to be honest, back here, if I ever need to buy another snake rack, I have the space for it. I can move this one down a little bit and I can fit another snake rack there. And I don't know if I'll ever need more space than that. My other option is I can, pull these away from the wall and put snake racks back to back right here coming out from the wall rather than having them pushed against the wall. And that might give me a little more space if I really need to kind of put anything else in here. But I think for what I'm trying to do at this point, I don't know if I'll need more space than this, because I'm trying to get into more quality breeding than I am trying to get into quantity breeding. So I don't know if I'm going to need a ton more space than this, because I'm trying not to sell $100 snakes anymore. So over here, we're looking at some point to get the the big 8-foot enclosures for the tegu and my red-tailed boa. Incubator is still over here. I actually just turned it back on because I have a clutch due here any day. Over here we have nothing down on the bottom here. We have the blue-tongued skink there, dingo. I don't know if you can see him with the glare. He's kind of hanging out there by the water bowl. Little baby redfoot tortoise there, hanging out underneath his little tree. And eventually, he's in there. He's in a 40 breeder right now, which is good for the size he is. And I named him Raph. They said it was a female, but they know it's hard to tell when they're that small. So I named it Raph, and I figured if it's a male or female, I'm just going to stick with Raph. Eventually, it's a cherry head redfoot tortoise. It's going to get a little bigger than that. Can't fit in there forever. So I don't know what my goal is for where I'm going to put him when he gets up to size, but for right now he works out good in there. And then I actually took this Vision rat rack that I'm sure you guys have seen, that was a kind of a disaster sort of thing in one of my other videos, and I decided to take out all the metal shelves that were dangerous to the rats, and just utilize these plastic shelves and take all of these rat breeding tubs and put my mice in there. So this actually works out for that. It's kind of takes up more space than I like it to for what it does, but I didn't want to throw out all that material. As you can see, I actually have all the metal shelves here still. I just haven't gotten rid of them yet. I figured I'd have to find a way to utilize it. After my first year with having, I think I produced just under 100 hatchlings this season, last season, 2021, I found out that I needed to produce mice. Some of the, I would say maybe close to half of the hatchlings would not take frozen thawed, and they would not take pinky rats because they didn't move a whole lot. So I had to get hoppers and like smaller mice that moved around a lot more inside of the snake tubs to really get that feeding response going with the baby snakes. So on top of having to really ramp up rat production, I needed to start producing a lot more mice too. And that actually helped to get the hatchling snakes going a lot quicker on food. So that's really it for the snake room. I don't know how many more changes are going to be made in here this year. I don't know how quick the tegu is going to grow because it still fits in that 4x2 pretty well. It's not even half as long as that cage. So I don't know how quickly I'm going to need to get the 8-foot enclosure for him. And the red-tailed boa, after it kind of grows out of that tub, I might move it to the 55-40s and then into the 70s, 30s, and then worry about moving it up to, you know, a bigger enclosure. I'd like to actually see. They're really cool. They crawl on a lot, and they are kind of semi-arboreal too, so I'd like to actually watch it crawl around inside of its enclosure. So I want to get something where I can see it crawl around and kind of move around a lot. So other than that, I mean, this is kind of the way it's probably going to be for the next 12 months. You know, I got my 3 ARS racks set up there and my 1 reptile basics and the rat breeding stuff. And that's basically my little workbench there and my incubator. I'm actually thinking about maybe buying a second incubator. I actually bought a generator last year for the house because we went without power in the middle of the summer for about 24 plus hours. And luckily my heater here for the snake room is actually on gas and does not require electricity. So I was actually able to crank that up to make this room 90 degrees, which was insane, but it actually helped keep the eggs incubating around the right temperature, around 88, 89. If I didn't have that, those eggs would have been down to 80 degrees for 75, 80 degrees for 24 hours, and they probably all would have went bad. It may have caused some incubation issues, but I was thankful for that. So I hurried out and bought, you know, went out and spent $1,000 on a generator, you know, that takes gasoline, which I think at the end of the day is going to save my life, because if I have tens of thousands of dollars worth of eggs in an incubator, it's worth spending $1,000 to get a generator. So I did that, but that's outside, obviously, and it's not in here. So other than that, it's pretty plain. I don't know if I'm buying any more pets this year. I'm kind of maxed out with space. I do have the one bigger Exoterra aquarium down there, which I don't know. I used to have red-eyed tree frogs, and I love them to death. They're one of my favorite animals, favorite herps. I might get some to put in there, but I am cricket free in this place, and I'm not missing having to buy them or take care of them or keep them alive or reorder them every week or 2 weeks or whatever. So I'm kind of still on the fence about whether or not I want to buy any pets that require live food that I can't produce myself. So I don't know if I'm going to fill that up or not, but maybe. I'm still thinking about that because they are cool and they're one of my favorite animals, so we'll see about that. But, oh, another cool little thing that I found this year from my vet was this new scale that I got on Amazon. I don't know what the brand is. It's from greatergoods.com, but I bought it on Amazon. I actually saw this, you know, I was taking some of the snakes into the vet for checkups, and he had the scale there, and I liked it a lot for multiple reasons. He actually told me that this is an extremely accurate scale. He actually used like all his little metal weights to weigh it out, and he said it was pretty on par with what the pretty accurate, I guess I should say. And it is, you know, battery powered. You can put a snake over here, you can put a snake on this side, you can put it right in the middle, and it still gets an accurate weight no matter where the snake is on here. Plus it has a huge platform to put the snake on, I was having issues where I had the smaller scale. I had to put this little Rubbermaid container on top of it, and then I had to take a Home Depot bucket for the bigger snakes, put it on top of here to actually get an accurate weight. I don't have to do that anymore. So that's a cool little addition. Maybe it was 30, 40 bucks, but it was well worth every penny I spent on it. So that's kind of one of the cool tools from this past year that I purchased that was well worth the money. That's it. That's the tour for this year. Big changes to my snake rack system, big changes to the rat rack system and rat breeding process. A couple new pets. You know, got the tegu, got the red-tailed boa, got the rat snake. The garter snakes are actually, you know, I need to show you them too. They're still in this little 10-gallon aquarium because they, you know, aren't growing real fast. They are not coming off of eating fish yet, so I'm buying minnows all the time. Let me see if I can get you in there, see a little closer to what this one looks like anyways. They're awesome. They're definitely firing up in color. These are the California red-sided garters. The other one usually buries itself down on the coconut husk. But I can't get them off of minnows. So what I do with them is I take the minnows, I buy like a bunch at Petco or PetSmart, and I just freeze them. And I thaw them out as I need them. I just put them in hot water, let them thaw out, and I usually put 2 pinky mice in there too to try to trick the snakes into taking the pinky mice. There's one snake that'll take the pinky mice and the other one will not. So I'm still trying to trick them into that every time I feed them to see if they'll actually start taking the mice, because they can't live on minnows forever. And they're growing really slow because of it. Whereas the rat snake, if I can get a shot of the rat snake. Oh, it's hiding. Oh wait, no, it's right there. He or she is getting big really quick. This thing eats nonstop. Whatever I throw in there. Usually when I have a ball python that will not take food, one of the hatchlings actually usually throw the leftovers in there with the rat snake because it just devours everything. So yeah, the garter snakes are a little finicky, but they're still eating fish all the time. So that's it. I don't know if there's any more pets coming in here for this year. But we have a lot of big things going on with the ball pythons, which I will follow up with in another video. So thank you guys for stopping by and have an awesome 2022.